Hi, it's me. Look, I know I've been gone for a little bit of time, but it turns out that when you're growing a human in your body while also taking care of a toddler, let alone one who doesn't sleep through the night, is really exhausting. So I truthfully just haven't had time to make this a priority, but I'm back. Also, I know when we talked last, I had just recently left my job, but a couple months later, I was actually presented with an opportunity to work part-time and hybrid, so I took it. I actually loved my job, so I'm really excited at the thought of getting to continue to do it, but not sacrificing nearly as much time with my babies because that is the most important thing to me. But because I'm going back to work, that means I have another project to work on. I need an office. Our house is a 3-bedroom house, and obviously one room is being used by us. One room is being used by Renly. When the new baby comes, she will be in our room, and then eventually when she's big enough, she'll move into Renly's room. So we have one extra room. That is currently the guest room slash being converted into the playroom. Really the only room that would work for us. I don't really want to take up too much space in the room, so I thought maybe we should just put my office in the closet. Right now, the closet is truly just a completely blank slate. There's honestly nothing in it. Before this, we had maybe a few extra boxes being stored in here, but it's really not being utilized for much other than just to hold a lot of junk. So this kind of seemed like the perfect solution. Not real exciting to start off with here, but we're just gonna jump right in. When I decided to turn this closet into my office, we knew the easiest and most efficient use of the space would be to build a floating desk from wall to wall. Kim started off by measuring 32 inches up the wall, which would end up being the height of the top of the desk. He used 2x2s to build the support frame and fastened the back and sideboards to the studs in the wall. Then he attached the center supports to the front of the frame and drilled pocket holes in each center support so the entire thing could be attached to the backboard that was already hung.
What's that? That's a bee. This is a bee. Bees use their wings to fly. Who's that? Honeybees live in a hive. Honeybees make sweet honey. Are you standing on one foot?
With the solid frame in place, he ripped 1/4-inch plywood down to size for the desktop and attached it using brad nails. Finally, to give the illusion that this is a thick, solid piece of wood, he added a 1x3 face frame to the front, and I got to take over from here. I used a putty knife to fill the seam with some sustainable wood filler. While that was drying, I went ahead and took the wooden dowel and support brackets down and was pleasantly surprised that the shelf remained pretty sturdy without these. Then I sanded down the wood filler to get the desk ready for stain. When staining plywood, using a wood conditioner first is key to getting a more even and consistent finish. For the stain, I used a combination of weathered oak and golden oak. It's a new day. I am going to start some of the detail work. I'm just going to go ahead and caulk all the seams from the shelf since that's going to get painted before I wallpaper. And then I'm going to poly the top of this. I'm actually pretty impressed by how it does not smell like stain in here at all anymore. I just left the windows open and left the fan on full blast all night, and this morning it smells completely fine in here. So that's good. I'm going to use a water-based poly though because I think it has less of a tendency to yellow over time, and I definitely don't want the stain to get yellowy. So I'm going to use water-based, and I got a satin finish. I prefer less shiny, but this is a desktop, so I want it to be durable and wipe down easily and to just hold up over time. So I'm going to do satin finish, but first I'm going to caulk all these seams, get it all ready for when we get back and are ready to paint, and then I'm going to poly the top of this. have my tripod anywhere, so we're just gonna have to rock with the camera sitting up on a chair on top of the TV console. But the wallpaper is finally here, which means I was able to take it into the store and pick out a paint color that just goes with it really well. And I went ahead and painted a coat of shellac primer on the shelf because it is like super shiny and like slick. So I just painted that on there so that the paint will actually have something to adhere to. And now I'm gonna go ahead and start painting the color that I'm gonna use. I'm just gonna paint basically the whole top half. This part down will be covered in wallpaper. And then I think I'm gonna carry that paint color around the trim in the whole room. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. The color I landed on is called Antique Rose, and it's in the Magnolia Home paint. So that's what we're gonna go with. I'm not sure if you can even tell the difference in the color with the lighting being the way it is. Maybe if I turn off the light. That makes it kind of worse. But it's definitely pink up there. I'm going to carry the same color all the way around the trim. And then we'll put the wallpaper up to the shelf. So that's what I'm going to start working on now. I measured the width of the wallpaper and then subtracted 2 inches and drew out a plumb line on the wall to ensure the first panel would go up nice and level. This is an important step because walls are typically not perfectly straight and level. I'm using a pre-pasted wallpaper which needs water for the glue to activate. The instructions state to roll the paper into a tube with the pattern facing in and submerge it in water for 10 to 15 seconds. I found the easiest way to make sure the entire thing touched the water was to wiggle it back and forth in the tray, then slowly pull the end up towards the sky and lay it flat on the table. Then the instructions say to book the wallpaper by folding the glue on top of itself without creasing the sides and let it sit for roughly 1 minute. Then I lined the side up with my plumb line and began smoothing the paper out. I used a damp sponge and a plastic putty knife to smooth out any air bubbles, working them slowly towards the edges. Once all of the air bubbles were gone, I used a putty knife and blade to trim off the edges. Okay, so for these little walls, I technically should be drawing another plumb line, making sure that it's nice and level, but it's a really small wall. You can't see it that much, and I'd prefer the corners to be really clean. And when I'm cutting, I don't know if my knife's not sharp enough or if the paper's just, it's because it's wet or what, but it's not cutting like a super clean line. So instead, because it's a small wall and I don't think it's gonna be super noticeable if it's not perfectly level, I'm just gonna put the whole panel up. And then there's gonna be like a small sliver on this side that I'll still need to like cut and put in and everything, but I think it's gonna be easier to do it this way than trying to worry about it being plumb and everything. So this isn't probably the right way to do it, but it's what I'm gonna do. Is done. Now what I need to decide is if I want to mount this light fixture from the shelf like this, or if I want it to mount from the ceiling, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards. And that would look more like this. I wanted to get another angle, but I think what I'm leaning towards is mounting it to the ceiling. And having it just sit slightly above the shelf, but I still want it like visible from kind of like this is what I'm leaning towards, maybe a little bit lower. Like that maybe. I need to watch this footage back and see what I actually think of that. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. Do I pull it forward like this so that it sticks out and I can still store stuff on the shelf, or do I center it? So centered with the closet opening, I think that's good.
Or like
as far forward as possible, that way it doesn't butt into any baskets I put up there. Thank you.
She really trusts craftsmanship. Yeah. Let's check her out. See what she's doing up there. Say, Mama, what are you doing?
Mama.
I love her. Cam, come on over to that side.
Switch. Look up. Look at Mama, Rat. Look at Mama. Is that your ears?
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
Okay, yep. Hi, Ritters. And now, that's where it goes so pretty.
You got your bowls somewhere close?
I think they're in
Dance,
the
dance, dance.
garage, maybe. Hi, honey. Well, it has been a minute since we started this project. To be honest, life got a little bit crazy. So clearly I had my baby, and she's 3 months old now, so it's been a little bit of time since I had her. It's been a little bit of time since we worked on this office, but I am feeling good now. I feel like we finally got a little bit of a routine under us, and we're just starting to kind of get into the flow of things, so I'm ready to pick up this project and get it finished. I got this little like cabinet situation off of like our local Buy Nothing group for free, and Cam just modified it by like cutting a little bit off the bottom so that we can slide it underneath the desk and just have like a little bit of storage under there. So I'm gonna be working on painting it. He's cutting new drawer faces for the fronts of them as well because 2 of them were damaged. So he's working on that. I'm just gonna get it painted and then we will slide it under there and keep going. Okay, Cam went ahead and built new faces for all the drawers just out of some 1/4-inch plywood, and then he like routed out the edges a little bit so that they're a little bit rounded and sanded them down. So I'm just gonna go ahead and paint them. I had Cam go ahead and add these little shelves for me just so I have a place to kind of store some of my like notebooks and whatnot. They're like magazine holders, but I thought that they were cute and they add a little bit of functionality to that area. Now everything is pretty much done. I just get to add like some storage options here and just the final details and decorations. So this is where things really get fun. I could have probably fit one more basket up in this corner, but I have this like fake traily plant that I think I'm gonna put there instead just to add like a little bit of liveliness. Obviously that's a super dark corner, like a live plant isn't gonna be able to live back there, but I think this fake one looks good enough. It will just add a little bit of life to the area.